We are Cory and Wallace, an early retired couple on a full-time journey around the world. With a passion for exploring new cultures, discovering hidden gems, and enjoying delicious local food, we are on a mission to experience as much of the world as we can.
Hello from Huatulco, Mexico.
So Huatulco is made up apparently of 9 different bays, and there are a ton of beaches here. According to Jay, an expat that we met the other day, 36 beaches, I believe he said. So yeah, there's a lot of beaches here. And in this video, we are going to take you guys along and go explore at least a few of them. Not all, because that would take forever. But yeah, so today we are going to start with the one that's closest here to where our Airbnb is, and it's called Playa Chawe, I believe it's pronounced. I'm probably saying that wrong. Playa Chawe. It's literally just like a 10 or 15 minute walk from our current location, and so we are going to go check that out today as the first of the beaches in our beach series here.
And an update about Luby. She is officially in Canada and doing extremely well. So yay, she's finally home.
Yeah, so very excited about that. That felt good to see that. We were tracking her flight info all the way, and we were in communication with the volunteers as well as the flight angels, as well as her new owner, and everything is awesome and she's doing really well.
Yeah. But another exciting news, we are going to rent a car. The person that we met, Jay, he had a rental guy that he told us about, because we looked into renting a car and it was too expensive, but his guy had a really decent price, so we're going to be able to have a car for a week, which is really exciting for us.
So that's coming up, but in the meantime, let's get going to the beach. Don't know if you can hear this on the camera, but I love the birds here. There's just so many, and they're just like all making different bird calls and singing their asses off, and it's really funny. So short, I think maybe a 15-minute walk, and we are here at Playa Chawe, and we are about the only ones here. There's a handful of people that way. There's no one that way as far as I can see. There is a little, I guess, boardwalk out to a little viewpoint there in the distance. We might go check that out later and show you guys what that looks like. But for now, we're gonna find ourselves a spot, stick our umbrella on the sand so we got some shade, and maybe get in the water. Unfortunately, it is a red flag day. Waves here are definitely bigger, so I probably wouldn't suggest going swimming here unless you're a pretty comfortable swimmer. And also, right as we came onto the beach, there was an information display warning about riptides here, so definitely something you need to be aware of, and you should probably know how to deal with those if you're going to get into water like this.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to go swimming. I developed an ear infection basically day 1 when we got here, and I'm still healing from that, so no water for me. Very, very sad.
Yeah, so even from there, I didn't get in more than waist deep, and you can feel how strong the waves are. So that wave, the way it was pulling me back when the wave was going back down the beach, if I actually got all the way in that water, I'd have trouble getting out, and I'm a pretty strong swimmer. So there's a reason no one else is actually in the water today. Yeah, even sitting there like that, I almost got pulled in. You can feel the force of the water just wanting to suck you back into the ocean. So I think that's pretty much going to be as far into the water as I get here. Because honestly, there's no lifeguards on duty here. There's riptide. Probably not worth it. So literally that little bit of time in the water, check this out. The pocket of my swim shorts is just full of sand on both sides. We've just walked out on this little, I guess, jetty or whatever it is, out to this viewpoint here. There's this little lighthouse here. You can see that way is the beach that we were just on. And then there's another little tiny beach there, but we didn't go swimming there. It's a little more calm, but also the water's kind of green and doesn't look as clean. And also there is like a, more or less a runoff canal, sewage canal that comes out into this area. It's currently dry season, so that's not an issue. But still, this bit of water didn't look great. Also, just a little bit further that way is the marina. So there's a lot of boats tied up in there, and that's one of 2 marinas here in the area.
Overall, this beach is really beautiful. It's not quite a swimming beach. We did see someone get in and swim, no problems. I guess if you're a strong enough swimmer, so it's possible. But as far as like coming out for the day, I don't know if I'd put this on the top of my list.
No, this is good for, you know, like if you're staying close by, you know, want to come in, have a little bit of beach time, maybe get a dip in the morning before it gets too hot. It's not very well serviced though. So yes, there is a free public parking lot just up the road. There is a pay toilet here as well. Not really much beyond. There's a beach club down at the other end of the beach, but there's no vendors here selling food and drinks and stuff. So if you're needing anything like that, this is definitely not the place to come.
No. And you have to bring your own source of shade, for sure. There's no way you could last out here for more than the morning.
Unless you're at that beach resort. I think they're the only ones that have like umbrellas and lounge chairs and that kind of stuff for rent. But other than that, yeah, pretty basic. So this was Playa Chaway. Again, I can't remember how to say it properly, that's okay. But yeah, so you get the idea, and I think that's gonna do it for today.
Yep. So we are getting a rental car. He's actually just bringing it to us, and I think he's here.
And we have our rental car now. We ended up renting from a private renter. It's not through a company as far as I can tell. And it's someone that we were recommended by our new friend Jay that we met here a few days ago. It's costing us 700 pesos per day, and it is a 2024 Chevy Aveo, little 4-door sedan. And it's, you know, got a few dings in it and scratches, but it should do the job.
Yeah, it seemed like a pretty straightforward process. The guy brought it to us. I questioned him on everything typical of like scams when it comes to rental cars, and he seemed to have an answer for all of them. They all seemed pretty legit. So yeah, now we have some freedom.
Bottom line, Jay rents from this guy every time he's here, and he's been living here full time for 4 years, more or less. Never had any issues, so we feel pretty comfortable. We don't usually, you know, rent through small outfits like that, but we'll give it a shot. Bottom line, it wasn't that expensive. 700 pesos a day for a week ends up being about 56 Canadian dollars per day for us. So yeah, anyways, we are gonna go head out and take a little drive and maybe go do a little sightseeing now. been like a 10 or 12-minute drive.
Yeah.
And we are here at, it's called the Lighthouse of the Bays of Huatulco. Again, mentioned before that Huatulco is made up of 9 different bays, and there's a lighthouse here on this point with a pretty stellar view, as you can see behind us. Unfortunately, we were hoping to catch sunset. That's the reason we chose to come at this time, but you can tell it's cloudy, but it's still really beautiful here. The view is amazing, and there's a little bit of wildlife here, some coatis, basically Mexican
Trash pandas.
raccoons, essentially. Oh, the lighthouse just closed. Interesting. We missed it. Just as we're standing here talking, apparently we've missed the lighthouse hours. The security guard over there just locked the gate. You can't actually go up the lighthouse anyways. Looked like people were just kind of over that area there. Maybe there's a bit of a different vantage point, which now we won't see today, but we'll probably come back another day.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to actually come for our sunset. We have the car for a week, so it's a possibility, depending on how tired we are by the time sunset rolls around. So we found a little trail off to the left of like the main viewpoint, and it brought us to some really beautiful views. Absolutely gorgeous. And I can see why this is one of the highlight places to come. Obviously not swimmable, but to watch a sunset, you don't get much better than this. We stopped randomly. It looked like a viewpoint. We weren't sure. It looks like it's the cruise port, and Playa La Santa Cruz is down there.
All right, it's another day, another beach or two today, I think. And we are currently here in Santa Cruz. We've got the main park just behind us. I think this little area or this bay is like one over from Chawe and La Crucecita, which is where we started. So we're here, there's another marina here, there's a beach here, and we're just gonna go walk out and take a look. Also, the other thing, this area is where the cruise ships dock. We did check the schedule online, so there's no cruise ships in today, which is a good thing, otherwise it'd be a lot more crowded. But basically, you can park on the street around here. There's a free parking lot as well. But as soon as you get out, you're basically bombarded by taxi drivers, tour operators, and so forth. Definitely very tourist-centered here, so something to be aware of if you decide to come here.
This is where the cruise ships come in. There's also a beach here for swimming. Honestly, it's not our first pick. We don't really like to swim where the cruise ships come in, but the beach itself is really pretty.
So this beach is much calmer than Playa Chawe. Definitely swimmable. It's actually got like a buoy line marking off the swimming area. It's in a calm, protected bay here. There's also more services here. There's a bunch of hotels, there's restaurants nearby, and down at the far end is a beach club. So if you want to, lounge around for the day, rent lounge chairs and umbrellas, that sort of thing, this is definitely a place that you could do that.
That beach was not really our scene, so we're going to move on to another beach. I think we're going to Entrega next.
Yeah, so Santa Cruz, I mean, it feels just like any other cruise port we've ever been to. Definitely not the greatest beach for swimming. It's calm, but it didn't look too fantastic. So our next stop is going to be Playa Entrega, I believe. So only a few minutes drive from where we currently are. Shouldn't take us too long to get there. So we are now here at Playa La Entrega, and right off the bat, there's two little parking lots, one closer to the beach, one just a little further, not too far away. But this is the most wheelchair accessible beach I think I've ever seen. There is a, I guess, covered palapa, large palapa type area here, which is basically for wheelchair access. So there's toilets here for wheelchair accessible, as well as an information desk, and they've got these large, I guess, fat-wheeled wheelchair tricycles for all intents and purposes that people can use. So they can transfer you into a wheelchair and actually wheel you into the water here, which is really cool. They've even got these guides in the pavement here for the blind. So if you're using a walking stick, you can actually follow that all the way down to the beach. Just absolutely fantastic as far as inclusivity, and it's all free and paid for by the government, which is just amazing. So we're just here taking some pictures at this edge of the beach, and we found a marked off turtle nest. So there must be some eggs under there, and it's cool. They've just roped off the area and left the nest there to hatch on its own, which is awesome.
A little bit chillier than I expected to be honest. But it's still above it's a really hot day. And I cannot put my head underwater because I still have an ear infection. So Wallace will be snorkeling today. This water is so beautiful, but unfortunately Wallace says the coral is pretty much dead.
The reef here is dead. There's almost nothing to see on the bottom but some, old dead broken coral, mostly just small rocks. A lot of fish life though. I was able to spot like a little, well not little, big bait ball of smaller fish with a couple of bigger ones kind of swooping in and out. Lots of little schools of fish. I could hear a bunch of parrotfish out there. You can hear that snapping sound in the water. That's basically them crunching away on the rock. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, not much else to see here.
But I mean, if you want to come and have like a really lazy swim, this is definitely the place to do it. The current is almost nil.
Yeah, it's flat, calm.
No waves. It's very relaxing.
There's restaurants all on the beach, and it looks like a couple shops down at the end there if you want to buy inflatable stuff, if you want to rent life jackets. Looks like they got kayaks. I'm sure you can rent snorkels, masks, and fins here if you need them. We always travel with our own snorkels and masks, but if we needed fins, we could get them there too, I'm sure.
It's a new day, and we are off to beach number 4. It's Bahía San Agustín. And apparently it is really beautiful. It's quite a drive. I think it's like
about 45 minutes. Yeah.
So hopefully it's worth the drive. Driving in Mexico is a little different than anywhere else that we've been, I guess. If you're driving in the center, it's considered the fast lane, even though it's a double line, no passing. What they do is they drive on the shoulder if you're driving slow, so that you just pass. A lot of times you'll just see people driving on the white line rather than in the middle of the road like they should.
What Cory means is this is not a double lane highway. It's a single lane in each direction with a fairly wide shoulder, but as you can see right now, people just drive on the shoulder acting as if it's the slow lane.
So when you get down to the area of the beach, as soon as you drive in, you're going to get hounded by restaurant owners.
So it doesn't appear that there's any free public parking lots here. It's all individually owned little like restaurant properties. They've got like covered parking spots that they're trying to get you to park in their spot and eat at their restaurant. And I'm sure there's a fee just to park there. We drove all the way down to the end, and it looks like there's an abandoned hotel down there. It still kind of looked like private property, so we kind of turned back. We've pulled into basically what looks like an abandoned lot. There is, just a pile of like brush behind us, but then it looks like there is beach access from there. So we're going to take our chances here. Bottom line is, it's not like they can ticket or tow us here because there's no tow trucks in this area.
And also, when we rented the car, we asked about towing, and they said it'd take up to 5 days for things to get towed.
Yeah,
so
it's not like Canada where they'll tow you in 5 minutes. This is, we're pretty secure here. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to go have a look at the beach.
A few moments later.
somebody was passing by and he saw that we were parking here and
basically claimed that this is private property and that we need to go park over by his hotel over there for 200 pesos, which we think is way too expensive. So we're just gonna go move on and try to find somewhere else to park.
But here's the thing, there's nobody around. We're worried that he's gonna tell somebody and they're gonna come mess with the car. So that's the only reason we're moving on. Otherwise we would just be like, whatever. So take that for what it is. We're just gonna go see if we can find anywhere else. We have stopped at a couple of restaurants just to ask how much, just for parking. So we got a quote for 100 pesos, and then the other quote was 150. And when we tried to bargain, I tried to get it down to 50 because all we want is parking. And he said no, which is fine. There is no free parking around here. So we're gonna go to the other beach and see what we have in store. See if it's possible.
This is Playa Riscalillo.
It's kind of the same scenario. It is all restaurants. We are parked at a restaurant that is currently not open, but it looks like there's free parking, but they've got it all roped off, so you can't just go there.
Yeah, it looks like there's a parking lot just up above the beach, but they've actually put a chain across 2 posts. So looks like, unfortunately, the typical racket, so that they can basically close that off and force you to park at one of the restaurants and spend money at the restaurants. Honestly, it's not like we can't afford to, but we don't really need a restaurant or drinks at the moment. And for us, honestly, it's mostly just the principle thing.
It takes away from the experience. It's really annoying when you're forced to do something that you didn't really sign up for. I understand where they're coming from. It's a way for them to make a living, but I just hate when it's forced on tourists to do what they want instead of just providing some free parking for the average person that just wants to come down and see the beach. On another note, this beach is really beautiful. I think catamarans and stuff, like when they're doing the bay tours, I believe that they stop here, which makes a lot of sense because it is very quiet right now. I imagine somewhere in the afternoon it really picks up here and just becomes crazy, judging by the number of palapas and umbrellas that I see and the number of restaurants.
We're back at Bahía San Agustín. Parked at one of the, what is this, a restaurant? Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said as long as we buy a drink, it's free. We'll see how much they require us to buy. It's in the shade, so I guess there's that.
And at this point, we just want to see the beach, maybe go for a swim, and yeah, then we'll probably call it a day because it's already getting pretty hot. So this is an absolutely beautiful bay. Just really, really commercialized. It's all along the beach is just restaurants. So again, that's basically the way they get you. There's no free parking, so you've got to park at one of the restaurants, but it's only free if you buy something from them. Yeah, it just kind of takes away from the experience. There's also a lot of boat traffic, so I'm kind of in this little like buoyed off swimming area, but there's not a lot of room here, and there's boats all around that you can probably see in the background behind me. It does look like there's another bay way out in the distance over there, but I can't tell on the maps if we can get to it by road. I don't think so. It looks like it's only accessible by boat traffic because I'm looking at it now and I don't see any development on that beach at all. There's no restaurants, no people or anything there, so I'm inclined to believe that that is boat access only, which is why there's nobody there, which is a shame because it looks like a beautiful section of beach over there. Other thing I'm going to mention is it's really wavy here, and so snorkeling here, I don't know if it'd be a very good idea. It looks like there might be some coral over on either side near where the rocks are, but I'm also seeing some pretty strong waves hitting those rocks, so you probably don't want to be swimming anywhere near there right now.
The bay is absolutely stunning though, so coming here for the view, worth it.
We'll see if it's worth it after we've had some food and drinks from this place. I'm guessing the prices are going to be a little bit inflated given where we are, and hopefully the quality's not too bad.
The prices are really high. I already looked at the menu. You're paying way more than the 100 pesos.
That you would if we were just parking, you mean?
Yeah.
We'll see what we get for that. I feel like a child because I'm sitting very low to the table right now because the chair, these are just those plastic, deck chairs, and it's like sunk into the sand. I ordered myself a light meal. This is camarón empanizado, basically breaded fried shrimp. Tostada is what it is. I've already tasted this hot sauce. It's really good. It's really, really hot, so I'm about to blow my taste buds out again. And the shrimp have been butterflied open. And I think it's still got, it's got the legs attached still. That's okay. Oh, you know what? That's actually really tasty. I'm honestly not sure what the seasoning is, but that's quite delicious. The rice is a little bland, nothing special there. French fries are honestly a little sad looking. Not crispy at all. The shrimp are definitely the highlight on the plate. So, lunch was actually pretty tasty. Unfortunately, as I was finishing eating, the table next to us that sat down started cracking open beers and playing loud music on a Bluetooth speaker. So, not very peaceful here anymore. We just jumped back in the water. We're gonna cool off a little bit, and then I think we're gonna get going.
So we did come back to kind of where we started, where we parked and weren't able to park. I still maintain that we would have been able to park here, but as we walked down there, we kind of realized it wasn't really a swimmable beach anyway. So all the swimmable parts are very much taken up by the restaurants, so you don't really have a choice. If you're coming here and you have your own car, just expect to have to go to a restaurant. Overall, Wallace said the food was decent. I didn't have any, I just couldn't trust it. The drink was really good. It was a limonada, and I think they used fresh lemon or fresh limes, which was really nice. And we were in the shade all day, so I would say it's a win. But I don't know if I would recommend taking a taxi out here. We did see some taxis coming down while we were heading down here. We didn't see like a lineup of taxis in order to like snag them to go back, and we have literally no idea how to get back from here if you wanted to get back using a taxi. So that is something to keep in mind. Day number 5.
I can't remember, honestly. Yeah, I think it's day 5
So
with the
I
car.
think this is what, beach 6?
I've lost count now.
I've lost count. I'm pretty sure it's beach 6. It might be, I'll correct it if it isn't.
Anyways, we've come to another part of, I guess this is technically still La Crucecita. We're just past the hotel zone where all the big hotels were, the Barcello, the Dreams, and just ahead of us on this road is where the Secrets Resort is. And we've pulled off on the side of the road, and there is a trail down here going to Playa Conejos. And it's just, again, another one of the bays here. It should be a really nice place to see. Apparently it's really beautiful, but apparently it's not much of a swimming beach. Currents are very strong here, so we're not expecting to go in the water today. And if we can find it, I believe there's, at the end of this beach, another little trail that goes across to the next bay over that we can go check out as well.
Yeah, so today was just more of a sightseeing day. We're not intending to spend a lot of time here. Just come check it out and probably go home. We got a later start today, so it's pretty hot in the day.
It's noon. It's hot.
So this is just going to be a really quick stop.
We opted to put on our water shoes up at the car there. It's just a short kind of sandy, dirt, rocky path down to the beach. We can already see it down there. It's not very far at all. And we can definitely hear some, I think like some announcements or something coming from the Secrets Resort over there. So when you come down the path, there is like a public beach area. There's a couple little local restaurants there. You can rent a table and umbrellas and stuff there. It is pretty rough, but there are people swimming. It's pretty wavy, fairly rocky, so you just want to be careful of that. And then just up there is the Secrets Resort.
We've come to the far end of the cove here at Playa Conejos. And if you look for this rather faded out blank sign, there is a small path here that leads across this little peninsula to the bay that's on the other side. And I believe that is Playa, let's see, I think it's pronounced Maguayitos. Probably saying that wrong, I'll put it up on the screen. But we're just gonna take this short path over and check out the other cove.
Playa La Entrega. This beach is definitely a lot more rugged. It's definitely not maintained by anybody. There's a lot of natural shell, a lot of driftwood. It smells like the ocean, like seaweed. And for the average person, I would not recommend going swimming here unless you really know the ocean and understand how it works. If you're a surfer or swim in the ocean all the time, this is probably no problem for you. But a few tips for the hike: don't go in the midday if you can avoid it, and also make sure you have something on your feet because the sand does get really hot.
So as you can see, it's a really cool little tidal pool there, but it's also obviously very popular, very busy right this minute.
So Playa Conejos and Playa Maguayita, honestly, beautiful. If you have a car or a motorbike and you can come out here yourself, great. You could taxi here as well. I don't think it would cost too much. If you're just looking for a beach to swim at, this is definitely not the best one. Playa Entrega still is the tops in my books. There's a couple little restaurants, but unless you're a guest at the Secrets Resort here, there's really not much for shade or services or bathrooms or anything like that. So I don't know if I'd go out of my way to come here. What do you think?
I think I would agree. Absolutely gorgeous if you just want to come see it. But beyond that, I wouldn't spend a lot of time here, personally. Even in the morning when it was a little bit cooler, I still wouldn't be here for very long. At best, you're wading in the water.
Yeah.
Maybe for 10 minutes.
Though that little tidal pool was kind of cool. If you happen to get that to yourself, it's a really photogenic spot. But beyond that, I think we're done here for the day and we're gonna head back to the apartment.
New day, new beach.
Well, we're gonna do one or two beaches today, or gonna attempt to. The first one we're here looking for is called Playa del Organa. And so far, the signage for it is basically non-existent. It looks to be a pretty hidden, somewhat hidden little beach. And the description I found online and also from our Airbnb host described that there was a private property sign with a bench and a table, and then there's parking on the opposite side of the road. We haven't seen anything like that here, but we think we found it, and we're here at this Alma, I guess, development site right now. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful, condo property or something along those lines. Looks like it's going to be pretty high end based on the artist drawings that we saw on the signboard over there. But it should just be to the right here. We saw a little steep path going down, and that should take us down into this bay. So we're gonna go take a look.
Okay, I think we figured it out. We did see a picnic table, and it's like way up there, but we did not see a trail. But we think that the new construction spot has destroyed the trail.
So that used to be the trail, and we just had to scramble down that. But now the rest of the trail looks like it should be manageable. So it's supposed to be about 15 minutes in the trees, and then we should come out at this bay.
pretty sure we lost the trail coming down. We ended up on a creek bed and then we found the trail again. So it's not well used, not well marked.
And it's steep and rocky.
And also you come out on the rocks and you have to scramble over the rocks through the ocean. So you do have to keep an eye out on tides. We don't anticipate spending much time here because we don't know the tide system. We don't want to get caught out here. So I think we're just going to take pictures and leave.
We'll stay for a little bit, but yeah, not too long, because if high tide rolls in, that could cut off our access back to the trail that we need to get back up. There are other people here, and it's because they've boated in. There's 2 boats in the bay here, and it looks like a couple of families here enjoying a day trip. So that would be the other way to get here.
Which I would almost recommend, especially if you're not steady on your feet. The trail just doesn't lend itself to being easy access. So we literally just took pictures and left. It looked like the tide was coming in.
It was, because it was where we had to kind of scramble across the last little bit. The water was coming up higher as we were coming back out. So I think we made the right decision. We're not equipped to wait out the high tide.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's worth coming. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's obviously swimmable. There's people out there snorkeling and stuff. Whether there's stuff to see, that's debatable depending on what article you read. So
everything I've read so far says that Playa La Entrega is the best snorkeling spot, and even there the reef was really dead. So I don't expect there's much here. We didn't even bring snorkels and masks today. Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. If you are on a boat trip though to see the bays, it's definitely worth a stop. It is really pretty here.
On the way back, the trail was actually easy to follow now that we knew what we were looking for, and it's not as bad. So if you actually find the trail, it's very doable. But bit of a bust. We didn't even get in, but now it's on to the next beach.
We are now trying to find Playa El Violin. Now, on Google Maps, it takes you to basically a little roundabout turnoff right before you get to Playa La Entrega. And there looks like there's a cove there if you look at Google Maps, but there's actually no beach access there. We've come back out a ways to just before we turn back onto the main road, and there's another little access point here which apparently goes to another beach also marked as Playa El Violin on the map. So we're gonna go down and take a look. Wear proper footwear here because 2 big groups just are passing by us on the way down. Nobody's wearing proper footwear. They're on flip-flops and stuff, and they're really struggling, both on the steep, sandy trail, as well as on the rocks down there. Definitely not a good idea to wear flip-flops and stuff like that. Wear at least sandals, water shoes, sneakers, that sort of thing here. This is a beautiful little cove. There's a short, steep little stretch of trail to come down. It's fairly quiet. There's a couple of families here. There's a dive boat here in this little bay, and there are 4 or 5 divers down there. Water's not that clear, honestly. It's green, fairly murky, probably pretty poor visibility. Waves are a little bit rough around where the rocks are. I don't know if I'd bother snorkeling here, but it's certainly a pleasant spot to go for a swim.
So one thing that's been really consistent for all the beaches that we've been to, all the trails and everything, there's no like trash or anything like that on even on the trail. The beaches are very actually pristine and no garbage. Not that we can see anyway. Even the ones that are not curated with restaurants and stuff. For example, the one that we were just at, Playa El Violin, there's no trash. So people seem to be respecting the take only pictures, leave only footprints saying, and it's quite refreshing. I didn't actually expect that from Mexico.
Yeah, surprisingly, very clean, no trash, no plastic litter washed up on the beaches. Again, even on the ones that aren't being, raked and groomed every day. Very, very nice surprise.
Today is our last day with our car, so we have managed to get to 8 beaches in total.
8 beaches over the last week, yeah.
Yeah. Again, there's a total of 34. It was an impossible task to get to all of them. And also, it gets too hot in the afternoon to do anything, so that is part of the reason it became impossible to do.
And not all of them are even accessible by car, so it's not even possible unless you decide to do a boat trip or rent a private boat or something like that. But anyways, over the course of the week, those 8 beaches, you know what? They were all, pretty decent in one way or another. They're not always going to be winners. Some are, obviously better for certain things than others. Overall, I'd say if you're looking for the most beautiful scenery, most beautiful bay here, I'd say Bahía de San Agustín was absolutely gorgeous, but comes with the downside of you had to, basically pay to park your car at a restaurant and then essentially commit to eating there and drinking there before you even get to see the beach, before you even get to see what the restaurant menu looks like.
Not to everybody, that's a downfall. A lot of people do want to be catered to, and that is perfectly fine. We just prefer to do things on our own. So that was a bit of a downfall for us, but could be an upswing for somebody who likes that.
Yeah. If you're looking for a nice, quiet beach to relax at, I would say Playa El Violin. Would you agree?
If you go there early enough, by the time that we were headed back up, people were coming down with boom boxes. So that may turn into a party spot depending on the day. It was a Sunday that we went, so...
Which was probably a little busier, yeah.
Yeah, so if you go early in the morning, that seems to be the quietest time for any beach. That seemed to hold true. By about 12:31, I'd say most of the Mexicans are awake and starting to come to the beach. Take that for our experience. I don't know if that holds true all year round, but that seems to be a consistent thing that we noticed.
Anyways, today being the last day with the rental car, we've decided to come back to our favorite beach, which is... Yep, you guessed it. Playa La Entrega.
For a multitude of reasons. Easy access, free parking, quick walk to the beach, and the most swimmable area of all the places, because all the other places we were just waiting at best. So here we can actually swim. Snorkeling, they keep saying that snorkeling is best here. The coral's dead, so
sadly,
up to you.
It is still the best
good.
snorkeling area in Huatulco. I don't believe there is anything better than this. At least the fish life here, there's some stuff to see. It's just such a gentle bay. It's protected. It's easy to swim in. You don't get hounded by restaurant touters as soon as you walk down on the beach. So,
I mean, there are restaurants on the beach if you want to get a drink and food. We haven't, so we can't speak to any of them. We can't say if they're good or not. But, I mean, this is just a really pleasant beach.
So anyways, I think that is going to do it for this video. We are going to hop in the water and go for a snorkel. But thanks very much, you guys, for joining us here on our tour of the beaches of Huatulco. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, give us a like, and make sure you subscribe.
And join us in our other videos for more adventures. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.
That was really cute. We're back at the car now after our snorkel, which was pretty awesome actually. I was using water from our water bottle to wash my hands, and a quaddie came out from under the car next to us. and started looking at the water that I was pouring onto the ground. So we basically tried to give him the rest of that bottle.
He took most of the bottle, but then he got spooked and took off, which is fine because he actually drank quite a bit. So obviously fresh water is hard to come by for them.